Here's something to think about when you're in the vending business. Your gumball machines are so small, and sometimes they get sometimes people have an attitude that they can overlook the gumball machine, that they can just, kick you out. They don't realize that you're trying to make a living doing this job. They don't realize that this is a job for you, that this is a livelihood for you. And one of the videos, in one of the videos, I mentioned that if you have over 100 machines working, then it becomes more of a of a real job. If you have less than 100 machines, consider it almost just like a hobby, if you will. And when you have over 100 machines, it starts to really get kind of fun, because what you're doing is you're actually putting little piggy banks all over the place. You're putting piggy banks in every little nook and cranny that you can. And the enticement to get people to put quarters in your little piggy bank is that you'll give them a little handful of candy. One of the things that I wanted to share in this video is when you go to a location, and it can be a good location, or it can be a small location that really doesn't do very well. And if it's a small location that doesn't do very well, you're not really disappointed when they ask you to take the machine out of that location. And it will happen. A lot of times you'll come up and you'll be so excited, and you're thinking, man, this is a great location. I make $50 a month here, profit, $50 of profit every month here. I love this place. The people are friendly, the atmosphere is clean, there's an air-conditioned break room, and everything is positive. And they say, oh, by the way, we have a new manager or a new owner in place, and we want to, sorry, I'm driving, as you can see, turning corners and all that. And the owner may say, well, we've got new management, new ownership, can you take the machine out of here? And at first you're thinking, well, this is a bit of a disappointment. I don't really want to take the machine out. I really want to leave it here because it does so well. Let me just park here, it's easier to talk. So you're thinking to yourself, I really like this location. It does very well. It's a large chunk of my income, and I don't really want to lose the location. What can I do? How can I convince them, and how can I change their mind on letting me stay here? What I do is I drive a fairly small car, and even though it may not be true at times, and sometimes it is true, what I will say to them is, I will say, I don't have room in my car right now. Let me come and pick it up next time I come, give me a month, I say, let me come back and get it. I never really give them a date. I never tell them I'll be back in a week or whatever. And what I do is, sometimes I've noticed if I ignore the machine for more than a week, if I come back in 2 weeks, of course I'm going to pick it up. But sometimes I've noticed that if I just ignore the machine, ignore the location, ignore their request to remove the machine, when I come back, it's like everybody has a different attitude. Maybe they decided not to kick the machine out, not to kick you out. Okay? So sometimes, and you hear this in your life, that if you ignore a problem, it doesn't go away. In this case, yeah, if you ignore the problem, sometimes it does go away. I've had several locations where they say, come and get the machine. And when I go back, they'll call me on the phone, because I have my phone numbers on the machines. And when they call me and they say, hey, we want you to remove your machine, I'll say, okay, I'll be there as soon as I can. I don't tell them any dates. I just say, I'll be there as soon as I can. I make it very vague. If they try to pin me down with a date or a time or whatever, I'll just say, give me about a week. And I'm hoping that in a week they're going to change their mind. And several times it has happened that they have actually changed their mind. And I come back and I'm planning on picking it up. I really am. When I go there, my car is empty. I can pick up 1 or 2 machines. And as I said, I always try to get 2 machines working in every location that I have. Okay, you want to give out as many choices as you can. If you think about it, there's a couple of restaurants that come to mind when it comes to choices of menu items. You have a restaurant like Cheesecake Factory. If you look at their menu, it looks like a catalog. It's huge. It probably has 100 items or more on the in the menu. And then you have another restaurant down here in Texas. I don't know if they have them everywhere, but they're called Cane's, and they do chicken fingers. And all they do is chicken fingers, French fries, coleslaw, and they have their own special dipping sauce. They don't even have ranch dressing. Now, I'm not a person who loves chicken fingers. So if you ask me, where do you want to go to eat dinner, I'm not going to say Cane's. If I and a friend and other, if I and other friends want to go out to eat, if we say, let's go to Cheesecake Factory, we all know that there's going to be something in that menu that we all are going to enjoy eating. They have vegetarian, they have Asian, they have Italian, they have American, they have everything. And then on top of that, they've got probably 50 desserts. So if you can't find something at the Cheesecake Factory, then, you're kind of screwed. And that's the same attitude that I have with the vending business. If you have 7 selections, in other words, if you have a 4-headed machine or a 4-selection machine, and right next to that you have a 3-selection machine, that gives the customer 7 choices to choose from. And they're more likely to spend their quarter. If you only do one item, let's say you only have a 1-headed gumball machine there. I mean, gumballs sell very well. It's a high profit margin. But how often are people going to buy that product? They're going to get tired of that product. So those are the 2 things that I recommend. Put 2 machines in every spot if you can, if there's a space for it. Because if you have a space for one machine and you try to cram in another and it really won't fit very easily, they may ask you to take them both out. So be respectful of the people that be respectful of the places where you're putting your machines. And if they ask you, can you remove it, stall, delay, and maybe after a week or 2 or a month, maybe they will change their mind. Just when they call you and ask you, can you remove the machine, say, yeah, no problem. Just be as positive and agreement, and be in agreement with them. And say, yes, I will do that. Let me, give me a minute to do that. Give me some time to do that. I can't do it right now, but I'll come back and do it. And as I said, sometimes people will just, when you come back a week later or 2 or a month later, it's almost like they forget that they asked you to take it out, or the person that asked you, he's no longer with the company. He might have been transferred or moved. He might have a bad attitude, so they want to get rid of him anyway. And so you come in there and you're not really sure what is going to happen when you come in to the place, but you're expecting to remove the machine, and you're like, hey, how are you doing? What do you want me to do today? Should I fill these up? And sometimes they're like, yeah, isn't that your job? And they act like they don't know what you're talking about, because maybe they weren't included in on the decision to have the machine removed from the store. So I hope that helps you a little bit with your vending business. Give us a thumbs up. And when I say us, give us a thumbs up. And when I say we will, it's not we. There's no we involved. It's just me. It's just kind of a common thing to say. Give us a thumbs up. Give this page a thumbs up. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And give me some feedback. Have a good evening. Have a good afternoon.
Please hang up and try again.